What's up, YouTube? Deadrock here, bringing the video today. Today we're going to be doing week 3 of my Sky Striker deck profile updates, I guess. Let you know what kind of where the build's going and where what we've been testing. And just some stuff over the last week that I've seen trending in deck profiles. We'll kind of talk about it. Explain what I agree with, what I don't agree with. But yeah, last week I told you guys that I wasn't sure if I was going to be having any videos out this week or this video this week if I was going to be playing a tournament. Well, I decided that I would go to locals in my city, back home, or where my family lives, where I was visiting for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's in October here in Canada, so I decided to play at the locals there, which actually had 10 people, which is kind of funny because the locals here on Sunday only had like 7. It was just Thanksgiving's a busy day, so not everyone can, and a lot of people have family suppers on the Sunday, which we do. So I went to my locals on Saturday. I wasn't really expecting very much meta. I played against like one Sky Striker deck all day, and like that was literally the deck I played. And I think I played like Metafist's Chaos Dragon with Blue Eyes Max with the incantation there. Um, and then I played like a layer of darkness and trades last round, so kind of whatever. But yeah, I did go undefeated. I did win. I got like a cybernetic horizon special edition and I pulled 3 supers, so great pulls this day. But yeah, so I went undefeated with the deck. Now, before we actually get into this profile here, I want to talk about this may after this the deck may see a bit of a shift or a bit of change in the way it's built. I think we have Vectored Blast and Soul Fusion coming out. I'm not sure if that was on the spoiler list. I think it was. And that's gonna change the deck slightly if you decide to run it or side it. I'm not sure how much that's really gonna change it. That's the only direct support we're getting. But we're also getting Dino Wrestler Pankratops, or Pankratops. I'm not sure how you pronounce it exactly. I believe that's the TCG name. And that is something that was played very heavily over in the OC, or is played heavily over in the OC. Due to the fact that it's what it does is it's a level 7 monster. If your opponent controls more monsters than you can special summon it from your hand. And then it's a 2600 beater, so it's already just doing life points damage. Then it has the quick effect that you can tribute it and destroy 1 card on the field, which is really good for Sky Strikers because that means it's a 2600 beater that you can bring out pretty easily. It can help you with, and then you can also destroy your opponent's stuff with it. Just really good, and it's a beater. You can make link plays with it. You can just do so much with the card. So I'm interested to see if we're going to see a heavy played version of that too, over in the CG. I'm not really sure how that works in the match. I haven't tested with it at all yet. I want to try to get some testing within it before it comes out, but that releases this week with sneak peek. So very exciting to see. If we manage to get my hands on 3 of them day 1, then I'll probably testing them out for that weekend tournament on Sunday. So that's kind of how it's gonna go. This week is a little bit different for Sunday. So it's the regular sneak peek. You pay for your sneak peek to enter, and then you played Swiss, but there's no top 4 cut, and then it's like win it matter or whatever it is. But that's pretty cool with me. I'm excited for this, and yeah, very excited. So we'll get into the deck profile. This video is like sort of lengthy. I think it's already like 4 minutes in. Haven't even started deck profile. So right, guys. I'll probably leave like an annotation saying skip to 4 if you just want deck profile. I'm not listening to me ramble on, but that's kind of what the series is about. Listening to me to ramble on about decks and just like and like deck choices. It's not meant to be a traditional deck profile. So we'll get into it. 3 Ray. This card is absolutely amazing. Ray is just a very, very, very powerful card. You play 3 for that's the end of the story. We won't really much more of that. And then the hand trap lineup, we're playing 3 Ash and 3 Ogre. I do like this ratio. One thing I noticed though, it's starting to trend, and I'm not sure if it's gonna pick up very heavily at the trend or not. But we see a lot of Sky Striker decks now only playing 3 Ash Blossom as their only hand trap because they're not really scared to go. And that's the biggest uh, point, and that's the biggest reason why they play it. They're not really scared of Goki, and they don't really need to main it because in the mirror match it's not that important. But I do like it in the mirror match because it hits multi-roll and it blows it out. But like besides that, it is like underwhelming sometimes. I do really like personally for myself, so I'll probably continue to play this. I might play that too, with the Pankra tops once we get that. So um, and that's it for monsters. And then next we play re-engage. This is pretty obvious, and then three Widow Anchor, which is another pretty obvious. These cards kind of like engage gets you to Widow Anchor, and Widow Anchor gets you stopping your opponent playing. So very good. And then we played two Area Zero and two multi-roll. Um, these cards in general are just very powerful. They kind of get they are the heart and soul of the deck as well, since they make your end go off. Multi-roll is absolutely nuts. It's like Spellbook of Judgment, but not quite as good, but almost as good as Spellbook of Judgment. Um, next thing we'll talk about, this is the one we're actually gonna sit here talk about for a second. Is I played two Eagle Booster. I think I played this last week too. And we didn't change this up. Now, I've been watching deck profiles. I try to keep up this deck. I watch as many deck profiles as possible so I can look at what are people running, what's good, what's not, and kind of take my best build from them. Um, now two Eagle Booster. Reason I play two is the card's absolutely. The one guy argued, or in his deck profile, he said he only played one. He said there's no reason to play two or three of these. It doesn't really make any sense because if you need it, you can just search it out. Well, the thing is, what makes Eagle Booster such a good card is the fact that it's really good when your opponent doesn't know you have it. I would rather hard draw this card any day than search it out. Your opponent not knowing you have it just catches them off guard. It allows them lose the card. So if they know you have it could change the way it changes the way they're going to play. They might not activate if they only have one Widow Anchor in the mirror match. They're probably not going to activate it knowing you have this card in response. They're going to have to wait until you make a play tell you they can make a play where they have two Widow Anchor, for example. So I think this card comes up best when it's not searched. And that I think that argument is stupid. No offense to that player, they did well, but I don't think that's a very good reasoning behind it. I think having this card one is just unknown best. Um, some things you can do with this, guys, if you know your opponent has two Widow Anchors set, um, what they're most likely going to do is make Kagari, you're going to activate its effect, targeting Engage very often, or another card, doesn't matter what card it is. They're going to Widow Anchor. What you can respond with is you're going to respond with Eagle Booster right away. Now, if you respond with Eagle Booster and they have the second Widow Anchor, then they're still going to get the monster. So that sucks. But what you can do is, you guys didn't know about the chain. If I use Widow Anchor on my own monster, negating its effects, Widow Anchor is unable to negate the effects of the monster, so it's unable to steal. Now, what you can do is, if you have this and a Widow Anchor, you're pretty golden. This means that, and when your opponent activates their first Widow Anchor, you can chain your Widow Anchor, targeting your monster, so they're not going to be able to steal. Now, this is where the choice is. This is where not having knowledge of having this in hand is very good. So if they know you don't have this or they don't think you have this in hand, then they're most likely going to activate the other Widow Anchor so they can negate its effects and steal it. So you're going to lose advantage and you're going to turn pretty much. What you can do is now activate Eagle Booster in the chain as Chain Link 4. So it'd be go their Widow Anchor, your Widow Anchor, their Widow Anchor, and Eagle Booster. Which Eagle Booster is going to go off negating, or not negating anything, stopping everything from negating it. So you are actually, or it'd be like Chain Link 5. Then you are going to actually get your engage. That's just an example of like not having, like them not knowing it's in hand. It's more powerful because they just lost two cards. You are losing two cards, but your cards back with engage, so it's better. That's this one example. That's why I think that's the real like value of the card is your opponent not knowing you have it. It's just sort of like back in the day when you played Fire Fists, or like if you guys played that format at all, you ran Forbidden Lance, and obviously there was no way to search it. So it was just one of those cards. Just surprise factor is super good. I do love cards that are just surprise factor. Ego Booster is pretty much just um. So now we'll get into the one ofs. So we play one Hornet Drones. This is self-explanatory. One Afterburners. Want to mention you can play two Afterburners. I'm also playing Jamming Waves, so I'm only playing one Afterburners. I play 1 and 1. I think that's a good ratio. If you want to cut Afterburners for a second you want to cut Jamming Waves for a second Afterburn. It is understandable, and it's really good. I just like having the non-targeting monster effect. I think I really like that. If your opponent makes Boral load, you can get over it. Well, I mean, you can get over it with Afterburners. Anyway. Yeah, that's not a good example. Your opponent has the Darkest Diablos. You can this. That's a better example anyway. But yeah, so you can run two Afterburners or 2 and 1. I like 2 and 1. I think it's more versatile. This is supposed to be a toolbox deck. We're gonna run it like a toolbox. We're gonna put all our tools to our disposal. Then one Shark Cannon, and then we actually did change it up. We played one Hercules. Shark Cannon I've talked about enough in the past that you guys already know. Good. Hercules base. Now this card wasn't like super like good. It wasn't like this card impressed me. I know what it did, and I know it's good. I wasn't running it before because how bad of a brick it can be. And I decided I'm going to test it, see if it really does brick like as bad as like I think. And I actually never drew it all day. I did side it out a fair amount. Because I felt like there were just cards that were just better than it. But like when I did see it and when it was good, it is really good. You want to like most of the time you don't ever want to see this card by trying it. This is one of the ones that you want to, but like when you like go into your extra deck and you're like, oh no, I have no Kagaris left, or you have like one Kagari left and like one Shizuku, and you're just running low on Sky Striker monsters. You want to make Shizuku add this back and add this at end phase since it's back, so super good. So yeah, that's kind of we might keep that, we might not, I don't know. We weren't meaning shared rides, and I'll talk about that when we get there. But and then we play two Foolish Bowgoods and one Metal Force Fusion. This card is Upstart Goblin, which is great. And this card is any card you want, or any spell and trap card you want it to be in the graveyard. So you can send Engage, or you send Metal Foes and comes Upstart Goblin, or you can send Engage and then add it back with Kagari that turn. Allows you just to faster. But yeah, overall this card's amazing. Metal Fusion, like you don't even really care if you draw it. Drawing it isn't the greatest, but when you send it to the graveyard with like a multi-roll or Area 0, you're pretty set there because you just draw again. And matter. So I do really like that engine. I don't think I would ever cut it. Um, play two Call by the Grave. This card could get cut. It's good when it's really when it's good is really good, but it's not necessary. But um, we do kind of like would rather have our hand traps go off, so it's just pretty good. A good trap card in general, really good for Rogue, or Trickstars, or just mini decks. This is um, terraforming to search our field spells. We want to keep consistency. We want to see our field spell. I why am I not playing? Like, why am I playing two terraforming in the field spell? Well, you could play three field spell, but I like and like one terraforming. But I like two terraforming just because the fact it puts a spell in graveyard, it's just a more powerful play. Um, so it's more powerful because it puts a spell in graveyard. Honestly, that's honestly what it comes down to. That's why we're playing two rather than one. Um, Rhoda, self-explanatory, brings Ray to that hand. Three twins, so this is a little bit different than last time. We only played two. Put in three. I want to see if it would clog as much as I wasn't sure if it would. And honestly, three is probably the best. I felt like I wish I could have saw this card even more, even though it wasn't like even though I had three, I wish I could have saw this card more. So I do. I think this format's really shaping up to be like um more like old Yu-Gi-Oh, back row heavy advantage playing. A lot of fun. So I do like this card at three. It was really good. And then once again we played the two Solemn Strikes. We've explained this card in the last couple of videos. It's really good. Well, pretty much that's all there is to say. It is really good. It stops your opponent's turn, stops their engine, it stops whatever you want. It's good. Everyone has to play monsters. When they're getting a monster effect for 1,500 life points, when you could just swing with Hayate and tie it up again, I think that's very fair. Even with the new time rules, though, going into game 3, I do side them out most of the time. And then play the two infinite permanents. Um, the yeah, it's a hand trap, and you could say you don't really need to run as many hand traps with this format. But I do like impermanence a lot, and not even just the fact that it's a hand trap, the fact that it's just a regular trap that I can spell, I can set and create stuff in the columns. So like when people anti-spell you, I owe you, especially IO on there under this one, or Imperial Order if you guys don't know what IO is. Um, so like it's setting it in that column and then just waiting to have something to negate something on your opponent's on your turn so you can play. I just love the versatility. I don't think I'd play more than two. I used to think I'd play more like three, but I don't think I would anymore. I think two is just like right amount for that card. Um, Extra deck did not change, so we'll just do it real fast. Three Kagari, um, self-explanatory. Three Shizuku, self-explanatory. Three Hayate. I think it comes up enough to play three. Um, so I do think it just comes up enough. The way I like to play it, I don't like to conserve them as much as like I like to bust them out as fast as possible, especially Hayate because I have a certain play. I think I explained it last weekend, um, but I have a certain play where I like to make Hayate because first before I make Kagari, first off it can test out waters. It can stop stuff so you can another Kagari that turn, or you can make a Kagari later in the turn. Second off, you a lot of times you uh won't have three spells in graveyard until after your one's going to resolve and you have engage in hand. So you make Hayate to get Ray off the field because sometimes your area zero is your last spell that you need to off engage, which can be a little bit more greedy, but that's why we play three, so that we're not just wasting them. Essentially, are a waste, but we can waste them. Then we play a small nightmare package. Uh, Pretty self-explanatory. Some people don't play the Cerberus, but I actually really like this card. I kept on being like, well, I'll put something else in once I know what I want to put in. And then it just like this card kept coming up games, like would win me games. So I was like, well, maybe I should just keep it in. Like for example, a lot of the times when your opponent like has the scapegoat and you force it out with like destroy macro and they have to use it. You can only get really two monsters on the field to just tokens, and I think leaving them with two tokens essentially gives them as long as they have a monster in hand, a free link three as long as they have a monster in hand, which is devastating. So I like to attack with two monsters. I get that gives me two tokens. It gives them two tokens, and then I use those two monsters to make Cerberus, discarding a card to destroy another token, leaving them only with one token, which leaves them with a lot less power plays. And it's only giving them a monster, which isn't a deal. And that's kind of like one example of like why I like it, or like the plays I like it in. Um, yeah, or like, and then even if you have like another monster, you can make unicorn and get rid of the last token if you um, but that's kind of the gist of it. That's why I like Cerberus. And then we played one Trisbana. Literally never made the card. Thinking about cutting it for Ningsu, but like this card can be super powerful. This card can be just super powerful in like Altergeist or even the mirror match, and just, I don't know. We'll see. Then we played the one Bomber Dragon. This card is really good. I like dealing 3,000 damage. I like the fact that it's 2+ effect monsters. We talked about it before. And then Boral Sword Dragon. This is self-explanatory, guys. I'm not gonna go and explain all this. Now, we'll go into the side deck, which did change up a bit. It's probably the biggest thing that changed. One thing to note that it's once again it is made for the locals I went to, and the locals I went to were like at all. So I thought let's change it up a bit. Um, two Gamma Seal. This is actually good against Skystriker even. So I felt like this was pretty safe. Anything that like are beaters and I'm scared to get over, this can get rid of any on your opponent's monster board or anything like that too. So I just like this card in general. Um, Free Mind Control. So this card is like really good. I've explained this so many times. Card's just absolutely nuts. It's free link play, or just free. Um, this is a little bit different. So I think I played one of these last week, and then I bumped it up to three. Because I felt like with one I didn't side it in enough, and with three, I could put in all three and see it turn one. But people may say, well, why would you want to see this turn one? Well, for example, against True Dracos, it's really good. Put in graveyard. I played Metaphys. What something that's kind of it's funny how well it worked out. But you guys remember you can foolish broil the goods this instead of Metaphor's fusioning instead of Metaphor's fusion. You can foolish broil goods it and then play any or face up spell and trap card like later on in the game, which is good. And then it's your spells in the graveyard. But why I played three is because I want to see it when I want to see it. I really want to see it, and like I it's not always just for foolish broil goods. Sometimes I want to do other things. So like for example, you want to set up you know like blessing off of area zero or multi roll, sending it to the graveyard. It's just really good with this card, and so I want to see it without having to see the goods. Sometimes I want to side this in, even if I'm siding foolish broil goods out. So that's a big thing to note. Um, that's kind of like the big thing about it. So for example, the Metaphys player is like playing Macros Cosmos. Game one he flips it like standby phase. I'm like, well, frick, okay. I pretty much lose. I couldn't out it because of the cards I had in my hand. Now, game two, I sided in three of these because I was scared of Macros Cosmos and I wanted to put this in the graveyard as fast as possible. What I did is I actually drew it. I used area zero to gain a different card and put this to graveyard, and the next turn on his standby, or like on my standby, after he went, he actually did flip the Macros Cosmos, and this just got rid of it right away. So it was super good. That's just kind of the utility of this card is absolutely. I do really like it. Um, we side decked two shared ride. I'd main these if I was going to an event. I wouldn't main three. I would main two. I think two is a good number for this card. It is stacky and it's gross, but I like the card. But we sided it instead. Um, kind of self-explanatory. Two red reboot. That's it. These will probably change. Honestly, this will probably change. I don't think the card's like that great, but it's okay. That's that. Last card is three Mind Crush. The Mind Crush is like okay, are really good. Two different words, two completely different meanings. Sorry, guys. No, this card's just amazing. Like honestly, this card is just like, you know, you add engage at end phase with Shizuku, and then you hit their engages. Add anything, either they add their engage back with Kagari. It stops their place. It's just overall really good right now. Everything is search. All the decks search. Um, or like you can get Mind Crush in some way. So anyway, guys, that's all there really is for this week. I know the deck didn't change that much, but it did change enough to talk about. Like I said, next week there's might be a bigger change coming, and then we'll talk about it. So I'm really excited. We have some excited things coming up. Hopefully, I just need to grind out. We got midterms coming up, but I really want to get this channel going. I haven't really been living up to the standards I was hoping I would be. And I'm going to fix that for sure. Anyway, guys, please comment, like, subscribe. We'll talk to you guys later. See